As data is king in this digital age, great power comes with great responsibility. Let's navigate the Data Privacy Act with the help of an expert, Attorney Arnel D. Mateo, the President and CEO of ADM and the current President of the Philippine Chamber of Commerce and Industry, Quezon City.
Kung sensitive personal information, yung mga kinokollect mo, and mapatunayan na NPC that you lack the necessary safeguards, you can face fines up to 6 million pesos. You can also be imprisoned. It's really very important na prepared tayo.
We are now open for business.
It is a signal to the world. We are open for business.
Our data is constantly collected, stored, and used whenever we access websites or social media. This raises important questions about privacy and control. The country's Data Privacy Act aims to protect our rights, but navigating its intricacies can be challenging. Joining us for an insightful discussion is Attorney Arnel D. Mateo, a leading data protection expert who is also the President and CEO of ADM and Partners Data Privacy Consulting. He will break down the key aspects of the DPA, focusing on the impact on businesses and individuals. We'll also discuss how it compares with global data privacy laws and how local businesses can comply. How are you, Attorney?
I'm good. Thank you. Thank you, Cesar, for inviting PCCI and ADM and Partners here.
I was a little bit adamant and hesitant on today's episode because this is data privacy, and based on research, Attorney, in terms of data security, the overall awareness of data privacy here in the Philippines remains low. That's according to the 2019 National ICT Household Survey. Pero kahit na mababa, Attorney, yung awareness dun sa data privacy, marami na rin mga Pilipino na nakakaranas ng security breach, na i-scam. So maybe to introduce it, what exactly is data privacy?
Well, when we speak of data privacy, it is the right of the individual to have control over their data. So the data subject, which refers to the individual, us, consumers, clients of businesses, we have the right to know how our data is being processed, where is it going, who is processing it. So under the data privacy law, it requires entities, individuals who collect personal data to ensure that they follow certain principles when processing the data of the individual, as well as to respect the privacy rights of the data subjects.
I remember many years back, this is not practiced. We don't necessarily care about it. Like data that's been collected from us are our telephone numbers, di ba? All of a sudden, you get calls from various entities, individuals calling you in. Di ba? Meron po yung iba na kapag hindi nila kilala yung number, parang they don't respond to it.
Yes.
But some, they respond to it, and when they respond to it, yun pala ahente or nagbebenta ng kung ano-ano. So some individuals would ask where and how did they get the number. So isa po ba yun sa pinoprotektahan ng data privacy law, wherein karapatan ng bawat individual or business na ibigay kung kanino lang yung dapat mapagbigyan ng number mo?
Yes, correct. Under the data privacy law, we have what we call the principle of transparency. So under the principle of transparency, it requires that the data subjects should know how their data is being processed. So there's an obligation on the part of the personal information controller. Yun yung tawag natin sa nagko-collect, nagpa-process ng data. Personal information controller, they have the obligation to inform the data subject as to the nature, extent, purpose for the processing of their data. So that means if they are going to collect the data of the individual, they have to notify the person, why are you collecting the data? What will be the purposes? Are you going to sell some product to the individual? Are you going to share it? You have to state that to the data subject. And of course, dapat alam ni data subject until when will you use the data. So, kapag ngayon, meron ganong situation na may biglang tumawag kay individual sa data subject, he has the right to know. So, one of his privacy rights is the right to be informed. So, he can ask questions, whoever is calling the individual, kanino mo nakuha yung aking data? Paano mo yan nakuha? Kapag hindi ma-explain mabuti, the data subject has the right to object. Pwede niyang sabihin doon sa tumatawag sa kanya, don't call me anymore. Okay? Kasi I did not authorize you nor the person that you're mentioning para gamitin yung data ko.
What is the right of the data subject? Halimbawa, tumawag pa rin. So parang, ito ba yung karaniwang batas na tinatawagan mo ako, didemanda na kita? Parang ganon. Ano yung may karapatan bang magdemanda or anong complaint ang pwedeng gagawin niya dun sa tumatawag?
Yes, merong right to complain. Una, kung kilala natin kung saan ang galing yung tumatawag, anong company, you can address your complaint to the data protection officer of the organization. So, yung data protection officer must address the complaint of the individual. Kapag hindi yan na-address properly ng data protection officer under the law, the data subject or the individual can go to the National Privacy Commission. Then the National Privacy Commission can then proceed to investigate ano ba yung violation na ginawa doon sa data subject. And if there's a finding from the National Privacy Commission na there's really a violation na violate yung right to privacy ng individual, pwede niya yung i-recommend for prosecution. So that means pwedeng dalhin sa korte at magkaroon ng fine and penalties yung nag-violate ng privacy rights.
You mentioned, Attorney Mateo, of the National Privacy Commission. What is the power? Under what office is the National Privacy Commission?
The National Privacy Commission is under the office of the DICT, and their power is, of course, to ensure the implementation of the data privacy law. So the National Privacy Commission requires registration, and they monitor companies and personal information controllers if they're complying with the requirements of registration, the conduct of the privacy impact assessment, the requirement to come up with privacy policies, the implementation of security measures, and of course, reporting of data breaches. So the National Privacy Commission, they can initiate investigation kapag merong violation. They can issue cease and desist order. They can tell the company na nag-violate ng right, you have to stop processing unless masatisfy mo yung requirement namin. So they can issue compliance orders. Sasabihin ni NPC, you need to conduct privacy impact assessment. You need to explain this. So until you satisfy that, hindi ka muna pwedeng mag-process ng data. So medyo ano siya sa business, so it can affect your business kapag you receive those orders from the NPC. Kasi syempre, imagine if let us say nasa delivery service, tapos nagkaroon ka ng violation, tapos sasabihin ni NPC, stop it. So yung sales mo maapektuhan kasi pag kailangan may tumawag, may delivery service, hindi mo pwedeng i-process kasi you have to comply first.
I see. But in terms of compliance and if there are violations, how long will the process take?
It takes time, but under the NPC rules of procedure, meron silang timeline na dapat within 6 months and not more than 1 year matapos yung issue. So when there's a compliance order, normally the NPC will give you 30 days or even less to comply. So kung ikaw ay nag-violate tapos first time mo naka-receive ng ganong notices from NPC, mahirap. Pero kung ikaw ay sumusunod na, yung 30 days would be enough. Pero pag wala kang compliance talaga, it will take more than 30 days. And sa amin, sa ADMN Partners, for our clients, we monitor their compliance. So from the registration, sa pag-conduct ng privacy impact assessment, sa pag-come up with their privacy policies, even the implementation of those privacy policies, minomonitor namin yan. So, with those checklists in mind, yung ating pillars of compliance, we can assure na later on, kung magkaroon ng problema, hindi tayo may hirapan na sumunod dun sa sasabihin ni NPC.
There's a lot of industries, institutions, or companies who collect data, di ba? Of course, a lot of the consumers here transact with banks. Parang yan, kasama yung banks, or maybe when you go to a grocery, or of course, the telecom companies, and even airlines.
Yes.
Yun. What are these institutions or companies who approach you na parang, sige, guide us on our data privacy so that we have that compliance with NPC? Paano po yan? What industries normally get the services of data protection companies?
Normally, those who collect heavily data. So we have clients from the airline industry, we have schools, hospitals, even marketing companies. Actually, kapag ikaw nagko-collect ng data, kailangan mag-comply ka. So hindi ibig sabihin na maliit na company ka lang is hindi ka covered dito. So regardless of your size, you're covered, especially kung you rely on data to do your business. Eh sa atin, yung simpleng pag-hire ng tao, paggawa ng HR work, that's already processing, no? So regular activity rin yan ang bawat companies. So kung ikaw ay isang kumpanya, kahit hindi ikaw big company but you do HR related work, kailangan mag-comply ka pa rin. Regardless of your size, if you collect personal data, minsan kasi pwede kang individual professional. So isa ka lang.
Yes.
Pero yung data na kinokollect mo sobrang dami, 100 individuals, 1,000 sensitive personal information. So you're still covered. So kami, we cater to micro, small, large companies regardless of their industries.
How would now individuals or small companies or businesses learn that their data is used by that? May campaign din ba kayo or the industry na, dapat basahin nyo lahat, pati yung fine print,
Yes.
di ba? Paano po ba yan?
Sa data privacy industry ngayon, what we do is we conduct public trainings. And through these public trainings and information campaigns, we educate our data subjects on how to exercise their rights, what to do, especially mga practical na situations like kung mayroong kang pinipirmahan na registration, tapos may nakita mo na mga ganitong information, ano pwede mong gawin? Regarding that, no, so during our trainings, we tell our participants na hindi ibig sabihin na nag-sign ka ng registration at mayroong privacy notice is pwede ka nabentahan ng produkto or pwede ka nilang tawagan to offer services. A privacy notice is not consent. Ang privacy notice, sinasabi lang nila na we're collecting your data, these are the purposes, and ito lang yung period where we will process your data. Pero if you want to use it, generally, you need to have the consent of the data subject. Merong several criteria yan on when can you use the data. But consent is one. And when you say consent, tulad niya, no, conference yun. Hindi naman related sa conference ang bentahan ng produkto. Di ba? So, dahil hindi na siya related dun sa activity, kailangan makuha mo yung consent ni data subject. And when you say consent, hindi lang yung parang implied na, hindi siya nag-object. Parang nag-register siya, so okay na yun. Mali yun. Pag sinabi natin consent, it has to be expressed. So, you need to have the record of the signature na pumayag siya dun sa processing na gusto mong gawin. Yun kasi, di ba, yung form na yun, registration lang sa taas. Di ba? So, hindi yun consent. Consent should be acquired as soon as you inform them on how the data will be processed. So, if there's a privacy clause, dapat siya ibaba nun yung conformity. Hindi yung nauna yung conformity.
Pero
tapos,
so pwedeng ilagay doon, attorney, na parang I consent, parang ganyan, and then they'll just tick that box. Pwede ba yun?
Pwede siya. So especially sa mga sa websites,
yun, parang I agree.
Tick
diba?
box.
Tick box.
Tapos when you do a tick box, it has to be very specific. Minsan kasi may mga consent na you allow us to use the data. That's very general. Dapat specific. When you say you are going to use the data, we will offer you products. We will share it to these companies. And ito yung iba pang purposes na paggagamitan natin. So hindi siya pwedeng
the duration, sabi mo.
Yes. So hindi siya pwedeng general. It has to be very specific. And there has to be an informed indication of will na si data subject talagang voluntarily talagang pumapayag siya sa processing ng data. Kasi minsan yung mga consent dyan, may mga threats dyan na nakalagay na kapag hindi ka pumayag, will not provide you the service. So, kahit pa makuha mo yung consent to data subject, kung meron kang ganong clause na parang tinatakot mo siya na no service, that's not a valid consent. So later on, pwede ka pa rin mareklamo.
Wow, this one is really interesting. Now, attorney, ano ba yung mga problema na maaring ma-experience ng businesses o ng individuals kapag hindi sila maingat sa kanilang data privacy? What are these? One of the most basic examples nga is if you're a busy person and then you get a lot of phone calls from numbers you don't know. And that's one disadvantage. But in your case, I'm sure, being the expert in this matter, may mas malala pa na mga problema on data privacy. Can you cite, what are the biggest problems if you are not protecting your data seriously?
Well, ang pinaka nakakatakot dyan yung ma-hack yung system mo. So that's one. May mga situations na syempre most of us, businesses, we have online presence. And we use our websites to conduct our business. So the moment na ma-hack yung system mo, syempre, how can you operate? And minsan, hindi lang siya basta hindi mo na magagamit eh. Minsan meron pang ransomware na tinatawag.
Yes.
So parang they would ask you to pay a big amount of money para magkaroon ka ulit ng access doon sa data. Ngayon, minsan ang problema, yung mga companies, wala din silang backup information. They have no backup data. Kasi under the law, dapat i-ensure mo na you have backup data. Hindi pwedeng yung data mo, yun na yun. So, what will happen kapag bigla kang na-hack? So, ano pang data ang gagamitin mo? So, you need to have a backup. Ang problema niyan, it's very difficult na matrace yung mga actors, yung mga perpetrators when they do this hacking and of course yung ganyang mga ransomware activities. So medyo mabigat siya na problema kasi kapag talagang especially kung sensitive personal information yung mga kino-collect mo and mapatunayan na NPC that you lack the necessary safeguards, the security measures to protect the data, you can face your fines up to 6 million pesos. Then you can also be imprisoned, up to 7 years. So, malaki yun. So, tayo, yung mga individuals and companies na nagko-collect ng data, it's really very important na prepared tayo. Ang mindset kasi ng iba, the moment na magkaroon na sila ng problema, doon lang nila siniseryoso.
Doon lang sila nagpa-back up.
Yan, oo. So, yeah, malaking problema yan. And of course, yung ganyang amount, sa Pilipinas lang ito. Pero what if you're facing other regulators? So, we have regulators from Europe, from US. Sila, ang privacy laws kasi it applies even outside your territory. So, paano kung ang data subject na involved doon sa nagkaroon na ransomware or hacking is taga-Europe? So, you can pay up to 20 million euro. You can be fined with that amount. So,
habulin ka talaga.
Malaking problema yan talaga.
Pero attorney, okay, speaking of that cases, in the past, here in the Philippines, even the biggest brands in banks were hacked, and government institutions, di ba? Government websites,
Yes.
they're hacked as well. Normally, ano na ang ginagawa ng mga ano na ang ginagawa ng mga IT doon or yung mga experts behind that? And how sure are we that our data is not really compromised?
Under the data privacy law, kailangan meron ka mga mitigating measures kapag nagkaroon ka ng mga ganitong situation. And yung mga mitigating measures na to, syempre yung mga remedial measures, for example, nagkaroon ng hacking, kailangan ma-take down mo na yung yung website mo. So, as much as possible, you prevent further loss of the information. Kasi baka gamitin mo pa rin in other ways na mas maraming data pa yung pwedeng ma-collect nung hacker. So, yung mga ganyang situation, meron tayong tinatawag na Security Incident Management Policy. And it's required by law na tayo, bawat industry, bawat company that collect personal data, we need to have some protocols on what to do kapag nagkaroon ng data breach. Under the law, kailangan i-convene mo yung data breach response team. And the data breach response team is composed of your IT, your data protection officers. And they have to assess ano ba yung gravity nung situation.
So, kumbaga, attorney, data breach response team.
Yes,
Ayan. So,
correct.
parang emergency response
Yes,
team na
correct.
ito. Kunyari, the usual, yun lang karaniwan naming naririnig ngayon eh. Kunyari, parang pag may bagyo, may lindol, o emergency response team yun. So, parang sinasabi nyo, it is necessary that companies should have a data breach response team. And you
Yes.
said, this is composed of IT. What else? Yung top management
Yes,
ba?
IT,
Involved na rin
the
yan?
data protection officer, and as much as possible, someone who can make recommendations na pakikinggan ng management. Kasi if you just put normal employees, baka yung recommendation na yan, nilang papansinin ng management. So, dapat yung may authority who can make recommendations na i-adapt ng board.
Okay, so once you convene that, what are the steps that you do now?
Yes, limited period lang yan. Kasi ang requirement ng law, halimbawa, nagkaroon ng data breach and it involves sensitive personal information that can compromise the rights of the data subject. So, risky exposure of data within 72 hours. Dapat ma-actionan mo yan.
72 hours.
Yes. And the actions that should be taken is, ang pinaka-immediate yan is yung reporting. You have to report it to the National Privacy Commission and you have to notify the data subject. So kapag hindi mo yan nagawa, meron
Pwede
na
kang
namang
kasuhan.
violation
May
yan.
violation.
May kaso ulit yan.
Okay.
So minsan, ang challenge yan, natatakot yung mga companies. Kasi inisip nila, naku, makukulong na tayo, mafa-fine na tayo. So, hindi nila ngayon nire-report. O kaya sabi nila, hindi pa tapos yung investigation. Later na tayo mag-report. That's wrong. So, even if you're still in the middle of your investigation, whatever data is available, dapat i-report mo within 72 hours. Yeah.
And inform also the consumer.
Yes.
Let's go to the process, attorney. O, di siyempre nasabi mo na yan, parang na-convene mo na. How do you now trace where that hacking came from? Di ba? I know that there's a lot of tools that you do, di ba?
Yes.
There's a lot of cyber security tools and experts who do that. In a typical situation, what is the process that being done to make sure that you do not aggravate the situation? Na parang sabi mo nga, dapat stop na para wala nang makuha ang ibang data pa. So,
Yes.
what is that process that you do during that response team meetings?
Sa large companies, madali eh. Kasi they have technical guys to do it. So yung kanilang mga IT expert will immediately stop the processing of data. And what they do normally is tinitignan nila yung logs nila. Paano ba nangyari to? Ano yung mga naging activity? So the IT can trace
Leading to that.
di ba? So the IT can trace yung mga activities that led to kung hacking man yan. Ang problema dito kapag you're not a large company, who will assist you? So, diyan napapasok na you need to communicate with a cybersecurity company or you need to seek the assistance of the government. We have the NBI, Cybersecurity Office. We also have the Cybersecurity Division sa DICT. So, pag may ganyang mga situation, yung inyong policy, yung Security Incident Management Policy mo, dapat naka-indicate na dyan, sino yung kukontakin natin. So, you contact the NBI, Cybersecurity Division, kasi sila yung may expertise kung paano ma-determine paano ba ito nangyari. Kasi all of those things na gagawin nyo, determining the logs, paano ito nangyari, kailangan yan, isubmit mo rin sa National Privacy Commission.
This one is interesting. As the President of PCCI Quezon City, how do you bring awareness on the DPA amongst the members?
Yes. Sa PCCI, we have general membership meetings. So during our general membership meetings, we do conduct learning sessions. So through these learning sessions, we do information dissemination of the data privacy law. And actually last February, my company, we hosted a data privacy seminar. and we invited our members to come. So yung mga ganyang activities, mga public trainings, we open it as an incentive to our members as part of our services. Kasi sa PCCI, what we want to promote is the culture of compliance. So dapat yung mga members namin, compliant sila. So nakakahiya na magkaroon ng data breach, magkaroon ng violation ng data privacy from PCCI QC. So we don't want that. And right now, yung PCCI QC is the biggest chamber in the Philippines.
With how many members?
We have 468 members, diverse membership from micro, small, medium, and large companies.
Another interesting thing that I remember from what you said, may ransomware. When they do that, based on your knowledge, attorney, talaga bang may nagbabayad din? Like say, kunyari, wala talaga siyang wala siyang backup. So, wala siyang backup, magbabayad na lang siya para makuha niya yung access or ma-restore yung website, halimbawa. These things happen? Meron
Yes,
talaga?
meron mga nagbabayad.
Pero paano yun? Kunyari, nakapagbayad ka na, kung yung hacker ang nag-backup, paano mo masisigurado ngayon? Risk ba yun? Na parang bahala na kung...
Risk talaga yun, no? Importante kasi talaga, una is yung ma-recover mo yung access. So, yung mga measures na gagawin mo, kasi you really cannot prevent na makopy niya yan kasi siya yung nagkaroon ng access. So, you have to advise your clients. Kasi especially kung na-access sa data is email, password. So, sa dami ng data na yan, kailangan mabilis yung response mo to tell your data subject you have to change your password. Pwede mo pang maagapan. You need to coordinate immediately doon sa mga cybersecurity experts, sa government offices, sa ating mga police force para matrace yung mga hackers na to. Kasi magagaling yung mga yan eh. If you just skip it, you do it on your own, you'll be a victim again.
In the structure of companies, be it small or large, how important is having a cybersecurity expert? I understand that in many institutions or sectors, that's necessary. Like it could be telco, it could be banking, maybe manufacturing. But gaano ba siya ka-importante na in-house ba siya? Or pag small business ba, pwedeng na lang yan, outsource na lang? Kasi parang hindi naman, hacking does not necessarily happen daily, di ba?
Yes.
Parang sometimes
it's a surprise.
Oh, it's a surprise. When do you outsource a cybersecurity officer, and when is it necessary that it is already part of your organization?
Siyempre, kung ikaw ay nasa IT business, kung hindi man IT business, you make use of technology, heavy use of technology to process data. Definitely, you will need an IT guy, a cybersecurity personnel to handle immediately your needs. Of course, you have big companies, airlines, schools, hospitals. You expect them to have their own. Kasi best practice yun. Pag nagkaroon ng data breach, mauubusan ka ng 72 hours to do the necessary steps to mitigate and to do the reporting and notification. Ngayon, under the law, what is required for all companies is to appoint a data protection officer. So the data protection officer is the one in charge to ensure that you comply with the requirements of the data privacy law. The data protection officer can be an organic employee. So pwede siyang galing sa iyong company. Importante lang qualified siya, may knowledge siya sa law, alam niya yung processing activities ng company, how it operates, and alam niya kung ano yung obligation to protect the data. This can also be outsourced. Kasi syempre, we address the situations where companies do not have competent personnel to handle the task. So, merong mga companies like us, ADM and partners, for most of our clients, what they do is, ina-outsource nila sa amin yung pagiging data protection officer.
So, it's an option.
Yes.
Okay. Now, what if the exposure of the data is not necessarily within the organization, but from maybe a client or a user? Example, yung kliyente or yung empleyado, siya yung nag-expose na unknowingly, nilagay niya sa, di ba, uso yung mga chat groups.
Pag nagalit si employee, di
so
ba,
parang siya
share
ngayon.
yung data. Titignan natin yung ano bang ginawa ng organization. Kasi definitely, kung ikaw ay employee, whether intentionally or not, and expose mo yung data, you're responsible for the violation. Kasi ang data privacy law, yung violation, hindi lang naman yung mga officers and board ng company ang pwede mag-commit. Even the rank and file employees, your janitors, your security guards, kapag sila yung nagpabaya, they can face the violation, they can face the penalties. So ngayon, titignan ngayon during investigation, meron bang privacy policy si company to ensure that the employees are knowledgeable kung paano po protektahan yung data. Kasi halimbawa makita walang privacy policy, kaya naman pala si employee ay ganun ang behavior kasi there's no culture of privacy in the organization. So if that happens, hindi lang si employee ang liable dyan, even the company. So kung ikaw si company, you have the obligation to prove to NPC kung ayaw mo maging liable na meron ka mga measures in place. So that means in relation to your employee, in-educate mo siya. So required under the law na dapat you do conduct trainings for your employees para alam nila paano ipaprocess yung data. So kung security guard man yan, front desk personnel, dapat alam nila na halimbawa mayroong kliyente, hiningi mo yung data, anong gagawin mo sa data na yun? So yung simpleng papel na pinirmahan, saan niya ilalagay? You have to notify, you have to inform, educate your employees. Kung mapuprove mo yun, pwede kang ma-absuelto. Pero kung paper compliance lang yan, gumawa ka lang ng papel ng policy tapos hindi mo naman disseminate, liable ka pa rin.
We mentioned data a lot of times, but when you say data, ano ba yung data na hindi dapat ine-expose ng consumer o ng kumpanya?
Kasi halimbawa sa social media muna, no?
Okay.
Yan automatic naman, naka-disclose yung name mo and photo mo. So, ngayon, meron tayong mga tinatawag na mga sensitive personal information. Yung sensitive personal information, this refers to the information na the moment na mag-gather ito ng ibang tao, it could lead to discrimination, risk to your life, and of course, it could lead to several profiling activities. So, itong mga sensitive personal information na to, syempre ito yung government-issued identification.
Okay, so parang kanyari, ano yan? Driver's license number, ganyan, TIN number.
TIN,
passport.
Oo.
Okay.
So, yung
birthday, hindi rin. Pwede siguro yung date lang, pero yung year, hindi.
Oo. Ang importante dyan, hindi siya complete. When you give out complete information, actually, minsan, di ba, sa banks, kapag you want to do transaction over the phone, may mga questions siya.
Yeah.
So, kailan ang birthday mo?
Okay.
Diba? So, sino yung mother mo? So,
pag alam nila yon, wala na.
Yes, what's your number?
Nakuha
So,
na.
yung mga information na yan, iwasan yung i-declare. So,
sige. What
especially
else
yung
po?
mga financial information, your bank accounts,
Bank
yan, huwag mo yan
accounts.
i-share, passwords. No?
Passwords.
So, yung iba kasi, sobrang dali sa kanila na sabihin yung password nila. So,
Tama.
meron nga dyan mga video na parang ini-interview yung isang tao, what's your password? Sasabihin niya, is my pet's name. What's your pet's name? Halimbawa, Maria. Also, your password is Maria. So, di ba? Parang ang bilis nilang ibigay na lang. Tapos, syempre, we had to protect our yung children natin. Yung iba kasi sobrang na lang nilang ine-expose yung picture ng mga bata. The data that you use can later on be the information needed by the perpetrators to do crimes, to do fake accounts, and of course to imitate yung personalities. Not only you, but also yung bata.
So ito na po yung napapanood din namin na identity theft.
Yes, identity theft. No?
So kumbaga parang you have the fake account, sometimes your own interest and hobbies, parang they copy you, parang ganun.
Another is your location. Kung sa social media pa yan, nilalagay na you check in here.
Okay.
So yung hotel, place, ganyan. So anong nangyayari? Nasusundan ka ngayon. Alam ngayon ng mga criminals na you're somewhere. So kung alam niya kung saan ka nakatira, alam nila na they
Wala
can
ka
go
doon.
there kasi wala ka doon. Recently, ang problema ngayon, di ba, yung parang may magme-message sa'yo, friend mo, sasabihin, can you give me your email and your number? So, una na yon. Tapos later on, may code akong dumating sa'yo, can you give it to me? So, ikaw, kung hindi ka maalam, ang tendency nun, the moment you
Ibigay
give the
mo.
code, wala na. hindi mo na ma-access yung iyong account. So we really have to be very careful.
That's on the individual level, personal level. How do you protect on the business level naman po?
The law requires the PIC, the Personal Information Controllers, to implement organizational, physical, and technical security measures. So, pag sinabi nating organizational security measures, ito yung dapat you have a data protection officer, you need to conduct privacy trainings, you need to do privacy impact assessment, you need to have a policy, and you need to do data breach mechanisms. Pag sinabi nating physical security measures, you have to ensure na you restrict access dun sa devices and even yung mga places where you process personal data. Halimbawa, di ba, the cell phone and the laptop. So, if you issue it to your employee, dapat may policy ka na siya lang ang pwedeng gumamit nun. That's one of the best practices. Kasi the moment na yung iyong laptop or phone, shinare nung iyong employee sa parents niya, sa kapatid niya na gustong gumawa ng project, that's the start of it. So, pwede na yan na hindi mo maiiwasan na it could lead to leakage of the data. So, it's very important that you employ this policy to control access doon sa mga devices and of course locations where data is being processed. Technical security measures, you need to have rules on how your information, especially when you use the internet, will be protected when you use the technology infrastructure. This requires companies to make sure that they have firewalls, they have antivirus system, and of course, they need to have encryption. So pag sinabi nating encryption, under the law, very specific yan sa Data Privacy Act natin, na yung data na sinisend natin in transit or in storage, we have to ensure that it's encrypted. That means, kung sino lang yung may access doon, kung sino lang dapat yung receiver noon, ang pwedeng makakita ng data.
Siya makakabukas lang.
Yes, sila lang yung pwedeng maka-open. Merong standard na sinasabi yung law natin, which is AES 256. So it's a secured standard na talagang hindi natin basta ma-access yung data in transit or in storage. Minsan ang problema nito, yung companies hirap sila na gumamit ng mga ganitong tools, no?
Is it expensive?
You need to pay something, no? So it could be expensive. So merong mga free pero syempre medyo risky 'yon, di ba? You cannot expect full security. But when you use Viber, Facebook, Messenger, meron na yung mga encryption. Pero minsan yung emails natin, yan hindi natin ma-secure yan kung
vulnerable
encrypted siya.
Yung
Yes,
email.
oo.
So what do you do if you use email? Halimbawa, there's a separate way to protect that?
Merong mga software na pwedeng gamitin para ma-encrypt yung data natin. So, or dapat you need to use yung mga email na dedicated sa inyo sa company na which is more secured. Minsan kasi merong mga public emails na tinatawag, it's free and yung security nila mababa.
And not only that, attorney, I remember, di ba, when you go to public places, di ba parang there's free Wi-Fi.
Yes.
Is there security breach there as well? Data breach there?
Dapat iwasan mo yung public Wi-Fi. So, dini-discourage yun. Kasi yung ganyan mga public Wi-Fi, minsan yung nagpo-provide ng Wi-Fi na yun, they have access doon sa data. Especially when you go on travel, minsan nagpunta ka sa isang mall.
Free kasi, matitempt ka eh.
Free. Tapos minsan nagno-notify sila na by using this Wi-Fi, you authorize us to have access to your data. So, minsan walang ganun. So, magugulat ka na lang na gumagalaw na yung accounts mo, may nangyayari na. So, we highly discourage using public Wi-Fi.
A lot of our Asian neighbors, they say that they're already well established, or here in the Philippines, medyo tayo pagdating sa transparency, legitimate purpose, yan, medyo hindi pa ganun katibay. So, what's your outlook on that? Do you see eventually the awareness on data privacy will grow? And as an expert in this subject matter, what is it that's needed by the country as a whole to make sure that we give the utmost importance to data privacy?
Right now, our National Privacy Commission, they're very aggressive in ensuring that the law is being implemented. So they're doing continuously yung public trainings on data privacy, not only for ordinary citizens but also for those who want to become data protection officers. Kasi we mentioned earlier na dapat bawat company may data protection officers. So hindi lang yung mga ordinary citizens ang tinitrain ni NPC, including yung mga data protection officers. Private companies such as us, we're also doing this, and it's part of our advocacy to ensure that we inform all of our data subjects on the importance of protecting their information and ensuring that they exercise their privacy rights as against personal information controllers na pwedeng nagba-violate. In terms of awareness, ang nakikita ko dito yung more support from the government, and of course from the private sector, especially yung mga established companies, to support yung ating mga MSMEs. Kasi as we say, it's very easy for large companies to comply. Pero yung mga maliliit na kumpanya, sila yung nahihirapan dyan.
Tsaka they take it for granted.
Yes, kasi ang focus nila, i-grow muna yung business nila. So this is not their priority. Kung titignan mo, more than 90% more than 90% of the equation ay MSMEs, di ba? So that's why like yung organizations like my company and of course the PCCI QC, talagang we make it a part of our services to our members to assist them, to provide them information necessary para ma-address itong mga requirements ng law. So yung data privacy law, talagang dinidisseminate namin sa kanila.
Maybe it's time for you also to mention about PCCI. Never before has the PCCI Quezon City been very active with your leadership. What do we expect from the PCCI Quezon City, and what are your upcoming projects that you want to promote?
For PCCI QC right now, we are very active in our participation in terms of our policy advocacy. So we now work closely with our local government to ensure that the interests of our members, the interests of the businesses in Quezon City are well supported. So we're now pushing for incentives and of course pushing for more support to be given to MSMEs para mag-grow sila as a business. We also do enterprise development. So we do have partnership with DTI to provide trainings for our members, especially MSMEs, para ma-develop yung kanilang business. So just recently, we did a training about costing and pricing, also some training on food labeling para sa mga food sector members namin, and of course yung mga accounting. Yan. So tinuro din namin sa kanila yon. We also do trade promotion. So sa PCCI QC ngayon, what we want is to encourage our members to patronize one another. So if you're looking for a particular product or service, you go to a PCCI QC member. Kami, when we do our meetings, activities, dapat dun tayo sa member natin. Kailangan nating bumili ng isang product, hanap tayo ng PCCI QC member. So, importante yun business development. So, isa yan sa mga ine-emphasize namin ngayon sa aming mga members, na dapat talagang lahat sila mag-grow, lahat sila magkaroon ng business through PCCI QC. We do monthly GMMs, General Membership Meetings. We always see to it that we provide a room where we can mentor our members, where we can do business matching, and of course, where we can provide opportunities for them to raise their problems and for us to provide solutions. And recently, we have launched yung tinatawag namin na usapan at PCCI QC. So this is separate from our GMM. So yung usapan at PCCI QC, we allow our members by sector to gather. So when they gather, whether PCCI QC member or prospective member, we allow them to engage with one another. We do trainings for them, for their sector specifically, consultation and mentorship. In terms of support for technology, we partnered with the ISSI the Institute of Small Scales and Industries. We will be doing some activities so that technology, information, support for our businesses will be provided to our members. So there's so many things happening now.
And
in
speaking
PCCI
of
QC.
trade promotion, if you are a member of the PCCI Quezon City, you should be in Open for Business.
Yes.
Tama, Attorney?
Correct.
Okay, I think Attorney Arnel Mateo will be coming back because we'd like to know more about data privacy and the other activities of PCCI. But this is something very informative. This is something very insightful on the topic, keeping your business data safe, navigating the Data Privacy Act. That's Attorney Arnel D. Mateo, the President and CEO of ADM Data Privacy and Consulting, and the President of PCCI Quezon City. Open for Business. We'll be back. Stay with us. And with that, our buzzword of the week is data subject. These are individuals whose personal information is collected, stored, and processed. Responsible data practices can become a competitive advantage in today's data-driven market. While it presents challenges, the Data Privacy Act also offers significant opportunities. It's no longer just about collecting data. It's about respecting user privacy and building trust with your stakeholders. Remember, data privacy isn't just a legal requirement. It's a smart business decision. By prioritizing user privacy, you can ensure your business thrives in the digital age. So take action and review your data collection practices. Let's embrace the DPA as an opportunity to build a more secure and trustworthy digital landscape for everyone. And with that, our quote of the week is, privacy is not for sale and human rights should not be compromised out of fear or greed. That's according to Pavel Durov, the founder of Telegram app. Thank you very much, Attorney Mateo. Maraming salamat po sa isang oras na pagsama sa amin upang tunghayan ang isang makabuluhang usapan ukol sa negosyo dito lang sa Open for Business. Hanggang sa susunod na linggo, samahan nyo kaming muli dito sa Open for Business. Catch us on Facebook, on YouTube. Like and subscribe on our social media page at Net25TV. We will bring you more insights from industry experts, thought leaders, CEOs, and featured SMEs. Together, let us help encourage business development in the Philippines. Sharpen your business acumen, feel the pulse, and set a trend for as long as you are informed and open for business. Ito po si Cesar Vallejos. Marami pong salamat.